doing?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. You're welcome.
Sorry for keeping you guys waiting. So, okay, now that we're here, I think we'll just today we are going to be creating our first Django app. It's not something big, but it's still an app anyway. So that's what we have for today and tomorrow. So before we start with creating an app or anything like that, let's just do a brief introduction to Django. So first, Django is a high-level web framework. It's written in Python, and the goal is to make common web development fast and easy. So basically, a framework is a set of components or modules that provide a standard way of developing applications as easily as fast as possible. So Django has a large collection of modules that can help you to quickly create your applications. So Django has numerous benefits. So like I said, the first one is it's fast. So because of the way that Django is created, it has so many features out of the box, and you can just go straight into development instead of starting from scratch. You just quickly start building your application or the functionality of your application. And then it is scalable. You can use it for large projects. And then it has so many packages, for basic tasks like authentication, content administration, and then it has an ORM that can help you to do things with your database. And then there is also that Django is very secure. It has built-in security protocols for cross-site requests, forgeries, cross-site scripting, SQL injection, and the likes. It also has a very good documentation. If you follow Django's documentation, even if you don't know how to code very well, it will be you will find it very easy to follow through that documentation. So, and then finally, it is also versatile. You can use it to create so many applications. Some companies like Spotify, Pinterest, Dropbox, they all use Django for their business models. So let's look at Django's design pattern. So Django uses the MVT design pattern. That's model view template design pattern. Some of you might have heard of the MVC pattern, model view controller. But this is quite different from that. Models is still same as MVC. Model helps you to define the structure of your database. Then the part where, the template is the part where the user sees, where your user interacts with the system. So that's let's say a web page. So plain text information that your users can see on their browser, on their devices. Then the view is the part that defines which template is going to be displayed, or which HTTP response is going to be sent back when a request is given. So views also have most views have templates that they send back when a request is received. So you are going to see how that works as we go on. And then so I've said that Django has packages for content management, and all of that. Okay, so we will now we're going to start working with Django right about now. I know all of you have Python installed on your systems. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, let me just share on my so close up. Okay, since you all have Python, I don't know if you are going to be following along, like coding along while I'm coding. How many of you are going to be coding along while I'm coding? Let me see our chat. Is anybody going to be following? Okay, Emmanuel is going to be following through. Okay, at least 2 people are going to be following through with me. Okay, so first, great. Okay, so first, before we install Django on our system, it is important that it's not compulsory, but it is useful if we keep our coding environment if we keep our coding environment tidy. So in order to isolate our project, we're going to be using a virtual environment. So it will help you to isolate your Django setup per project. It means that if there are any changes that are made inside of your project, it will not affect another project that you are creating. So I'm going to drop a link for you to use as a guide so I'm going to drop this link. If you do not have virtual environments installed on your laptop, please make use of that link. I don't know how many of you have virtual environments installed on your laptop. You can just raise your hand or something. Okay, I want to just know. Yeah, if you use PyCharm, then it makes it very, very easy. I don't know about Spider, Emmanuel. So do you have virtual environments installed? If you have PyCharm, then when you are creating your application, when you're creating your application, I think it just helps you to create a virtual environment automatically. Yeah, cool. Yes, please do.
Okay, thank you. I want to understand the virtual. Are you talking about Visual Studio Code or is this something else?
No, it's just like a small package that helps you to create or isolate your project. So I sent a link. You can click on that link. If you are using a Windows system, it will show you how to install it on a Windows system, or if you're using a Mac or a Linux, to show you just how to. So the first thing we want to do, when you are done installing your virtual environment, please just let me know in the chat section. So let me close this up. So if you have virtual environments installed, just create your virtual environment. I'll just command venv. Okay. Has everybody created their virtual environment? And then in order to use your virtual environment, just type source path your virtual environment /bin/activate, and that does it. So if you're inside your virtual environment now, please just indicate. While you are doing that, I'm just going to tell you a little bit, let you in on how Django works. So in Django, we create projects and applications. So your project contains your applications. I'll say that your project is like your entire website. So if you want to create a site, that site can that's not the way to say it. So if you want to create a website, that website can have several functionalities. Yeah. So the project there is the website, and then the several like distinct functionalities are your application. So let's say in your website you're going to have a blog, you're going to have a user management application, or you're going to have a catalog. All those are three different applications. However, it all boils down to how you choose to manage or structure your project. So inside of your project, you can have several applications to like separate functionalities. So, excuse me, please. Sorry, please excuse me. Okay, so I was saying that a Django project is a collection of applications and then settings or configurations that will help that project run. So let's say database configuration, then some configurations that you set yourself, and then let's say Django specific settings. So that's that for projects. So has everybody finished installing and creating their virtual environment? Please just let me know in the chat section. Just type yes or something. You're having issues with yours. Can you like say what issue you're having? Is it with installation or with creating it? Can I see the error, please? What error does it throw? So first, are you using a Windows system? Oh, see, Imole, you have to remove that dollar sign. Remove the dollar sign and just type sudo apt-get install Python pip. Or I don't know. Yeah, remove the dollar sign. Okay. While you're fixing that, let's go ahead and create a Django project. So, all right. So to create a Django project, you have to run this command, Django admin start project, and then the name of your project. So you have to be inside of the directory you want. You have to be inside of the directory you want to store your project or your code. I'm going to just type this in, project name. Can you all see the command? What should we call our project? Let me just call it. What should I call it? I'll just call it website. Is everybody following through?
Yes, I am, but I'm not on my system.
Okay. Who else is on their system that is following through? Emmanuel, you said you're on your system. So how far have you come? Okay, so when you run that code, you will see that it creates if you run Django admin start project website or whatever name you give it, you see that Django creates a directory. Okay, so you see that Django creates a directory with the name you provide as your project name. So let's see what is inside of the directory first. side of the website directory. So we see that there is an outer project directory and there's an inner project directory. So inside of the inner project directory, before we talk about that, I just wanted to tell you that if you are running this Django admin start project command, you should not use built-in Python names or Django. Okay. Do we need to install Django in the, yeah, you have to install Django in the virtual environment. But this command here just helps you to create like the folders and files you require to create your Django application. So you don't necessarily need to let me see what is inside my thing. Yeah, so you just run the command. So inside of the okay, Imole, you have to look for the instructions for Windows system. Yeah, look for instructions for Windows system. Okay. So inside of the directory, we have an init file, init.py file. We have asgi.py file, settings file, URLs, WSGI file, and then we have the manage.py file. So inside of the outer website directory, there's the inner website directory and then the manage.py file. And then inside of that one, you have all of these files. So the init.py file is just, there's nothing inside of it. It's just an empty file that tells Python that treats my directory as a package. So anytime you want to like import something from website, you just do website dot, let's say URLs or settings or ASGI. No, not ASGI, please. ASGI is like an interface. So that's like how that works. So the settings file is what contains the settings or config for your Django project. So inside of here, so these are all settings. Some module that contains settings for all of your Django application. Then there's the URLs directory. It contains declaration for your, should I say, like a URL config. So it contains URL declarations for your Django projects. And it is here that Django, like this, okay, I'm going to come back to this one soon. So this like contains all of like the URLs for your files, for your application. Then we have the asgi.py file. It contains, it's an entry point for ASGI compatible web servers for serving your project, like when you are maybe ready to deploy or something. And then WSGI is also for WSGI compatible web servers to serve your projects. So then this manage.py here is like a command line utility. So with it, you can interact with your Django project in several ways. Okay. Peter, thank you for helping out. Mole, did you see the messages? Okay. So this URLs file, it tells Django which pages to serve in response to a request. So if a request comes in, it's like match the it is like the request is checked, or should I say the URL of that request is checked. And then if it matches a particular pattern inside of here, inside of this URL patterns, then that view is going to be called. And like that view now in turn serves a particular file or performs a particular kind of logic. So to verify the app, let me just quickly install Django first. Okay, so you all should install Django on your systems. Inside of use pip to install Django on your system. So we can test if we got our like our project so go into your project directory where you can manage your file and run this code. So when you're like, so if you get an error like the port is already in use, you can just give a space and type in
Sorry guys, your trainer has a bit of an issue, so she'll just fix that up and be back as soon as possible. So let's just hold on. Okay, I think she's back already. Okay.
okay, sorry about that. I don't know how long I don't know how long my internet went off for. So did you guys get to the point where I ran this Python manage.py run server? Hello?
No, 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 no.
Okay, but did you install Django using pip from your, did you install Django?
Yes.
Okay, so if you've installed Django on your laptop, inside of your website folder, just run Python.py run server. It's just this is like a small server for development that you can just use to test your application. So if you have this error that says that port is already in use, you can specify another port to use and just do Python manage.py run server and then the port you choose. Okay. So how many of you got your servers, your applications running? Let's see your chats. Okay, can you check if you are inside of your virtual environment? So if you see something like, say my terminal is red. If you see something like this, like a bracket and then the name of your virtual environment, like VNV, then you know you are inside of your virtual environment. So can you confirm if you are inside of the virtual environment?
Yes, I am actually, but I'm trying to install Django in the virtual environment. It's telling me no module named Django.
No module name Django.
Yeah.
Okay, can you like create a requirement? Can you create a requirement.txt file and then let me just check my, can you freeze my, so like create a requirement.txt file and place this inside of it. Then do pip install -r requirements.txt like this. Please. Did any other person get the application running? So if you get your application running and you click on the and you click on that the server link here, like the link here where your server is running on, you should see a page like this. Give me a second. You should see a page like this. Did anybody get to this point? Or should we just hold on for everyone? If anybody has seen a page like that, can you just put like signify? Okay, Peter has seen a page like that. Jesus, man. Okay, this one is running. Okay, good job, Peter. Let's just see. Let's just hold on first. Maybe I'll have to consult the oracles. Well, sorry. Good. So let me see if I can get, let me check the link I sent to you. So have you been able to get, did you run something like this? In fact, I don't even know which directory you are inside. So can you list what is inside of your directory? Let me see what is shown. When you list the things inside of the directory, what is there? Just type ls and enter. Mole, when you're ready, just let me know.
Okay, can you hear me? Hello?
It's not bringing. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, oh, I'm using Windows, right? And
Mhm.
making a virtual environment, right? I realized that there's an env folder on my what's it called on my local Dixie that was created when I installed the virtual environment. Then inside that envs, that's the virtual environment, that is where my projects are being created. Now I've actually seeded into the new virtual environment I just created now,
Mhm.
right? And I'm trying to install the Django inside this environment, but yet it keeps telling me there's no module name found called Django.
Okay, and you're using pip3. Let me
If
see. Are you inside of? Can I just like see a? Let me just see what your screen looks like.
okay, can I take it? Let me snap it then.
Yeah.
All right.
So if you can, did you use pip install Django? Hmm? Yeah. Remember, I got this kind of errors.
Sorry, do I need to use pip3? Can I just use pip?
Yeah, use pip3. Yes, pip3.
Okay, it's installing now.
Okay.
Mm.
Let me see. Can you? I don't know exactly which. It could be a matter of where exactly you are inside of your, like which directory you are inside. So you might be trying to just. Can I like which directory are you inside now? Which directory are you inside? DC.
Are you talking to me?
No, for Imole, because it's saying that it could
Okay.
not open requirements file. That means the file is not there. So it could be the directory you are inside. Maybe you are inside. That's why I said you should list what is. Oh, if you are
Can
doing
I
LS,
share my screen?
I think if you do dir, yeah. Let me see.
Okay.
I think for Windows should be dir, not ls. Okay, so wait first. You're not inside of your virtual environment. Have
Okay.
you have you installed the virtual environment? Type virtual
I
env together. Let me see.
is it the first
No, inside
what's
of
the
here.
name?
Clear pip3
Okay. Okay.
and type virtual env.
Virtual
No, together.
AMP.
Env.
Okay. That's all.
Yeah, and enter. Let me see. So likely it was not installed. Did you install the
Okay.
virtual environment?
I did, but in between, it started installing, then brought error in between and stopped. So I wasn't sure if it was installed or not.
I'm sure it did not install.
Okay. So let me start the process
So maybe
of,
install it again and let's see.
okay.
Okay, while you're doing that, let me
Let me
just,
unshare.
yeah. if you have an error, please just like send it here again.
Okay.
That's what's wrong. Okay, so have you been able to install Django now, Mendy?
Yes, I've installed Django. I've created a directory. I want to launch the Django admin start project.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay. Yeah. So just something to note, like while you are developing, this development server will automatically reload whenever there's any change. So you don't need to like go back to restart your code to effect any change. But then if you add a file, it's not restart. So you need to go and restart the server in that case. And then you can only use this server for production. So you can't run Python manage.py run server on a development server, on a production server. Hmm? Okay, so if you look at the like when you finally run your Python, project, you see that it says that you have 18 unapplied migrations. Your project may not work properly until you apply the migrations for apps, like for all of these apps that are mentioned here. So run Python manage.py migrate to apply them. So Django is just complaining that you need to migrate, so like you've not migrated your database. So you need to migrate those, you have to migrate your database so that you can have all of the tables. Like there are some defaults, applications that Django already created for you just for convenience. Inside of settings of Pi, you'd see under installed apps, you see there are like 6 of them that Django has already like created for you by default. So you need to migrate all of you have to migrate all of this. You have to migrate your database so that you can see all of these applications there. So what we do is you get to see it. Just
Done.
okay, so you've seen it now. Imole Alpha.
My error message is in the chat. I want to go over the step again and I'll give you feedback what
Yeah,
I've
if you're
done. You
looking
can
for
continue.
But there was one this thing that someone sent.
That was what I used.
No. Okay. Sent. Okay, so remember we said that I just stopped sharing. Remember we said that that Python has like a Python project can have as many applications, like it can have many applications inside of it. Mendy.
Yeah, I was going to suggest to Mole that she should install virtual mv wrapper / I'll type it on the this thing now. She's using
Okay.
the Windows system, Abby.
Yes.
Okay, I'll type out the installation process now. Alright.
Okay, thank you for that. So we are going to create an application. So we want to create a blog for our website. And yeah, we're going to create a blog for our website. So we have to create an application to yeah, we're going to create an application for that particular functionality. So, or feature. So to create an app, what you have to do is, let me just copy and paste to you guys. You're going to write Python manage.py start app, and then the name of your app. So the name of my app is just blog, and then you press enter. Let me see your chat. Okay. So if you run that command, you see. If you run that command, you see that inside of your directory there is now a new blog folder. So the blog folder has an admin.py file, apps.py, models.py, test.py, and reviews.py file. It also has this init.py to signify, to tell Python that this directory should be treated, or this should be treated as a package. So the admin.py is your config file for the built-in Django admin or Django admin app. Then the apps.py is this admin.py. Okay, then the apps.py is built-in config, like it's config for your application. Then we have the models.py. Models.py is for you to define your database models, and then Django will help you when you make migration. Django is going to help you to automatically translate these models into database tables. So there's also a test file. This test file is where you like write tests specifically for a particular application. And then the views.py is where we handle request response logic for application. So did everybody create their blog application? Did everybody create their blog application?
I'm on it now.
Okay. So let everybody create their blog application.
Sorry, I'm supposed to exit. I can close by Control C, Abby.
Control C, or you can do exit. You can type exit.
Okay.
No, I just
Okay.
do Control C.
All right.
Okay, so if you finish creating your application, now Django does not yet know that, like, your application is there, but Django doesn't know about it. So you have to tell it inside your settings.py file. Let me quickly open this Django documentation. Okay. Give me a second. I want to pick something. Okay. So you have to, let's go into our settings.py file. So you see where you have installed apps. You need to add your new application into this list of installed apps on Django. So you're going to add the name of your app like this, and then you add the apps dot. Okay. It's not this website. Website is a project. This blog config like this. Let's check inside this apps file. Okay, so this is like the config. This is like what we are adding, this blog config. So let me see. It's supposed to be blog.apps. So blog.apps.this config. Yeah. Just add just in case. So you add your application like this. Your app.this apps file dot blog config, or whatever the name of your config is inside of here. Do you guys get?
Sorry, please just take that again.
So you add your app, the name of your app. So
the name of my app is blog.
Yes, dot apps. That's these apps here. These are the apps you are referring to. Dot the config that you are the config of your app. So whatever name you called your app, it's going to show inside of here. Your app.apps dot your app config, something like that.
Okay.
Okay. So has everybody done that? Okay. So I'll just say this again. When you type in a URL like https KodeCamp.com. So when let's say you have your Django project and you type that into your browser, your Django project is first going to look at your URL pattern, and then it will match it. So like the URL pattern is minus the domain name. So minus your https KodeCamp.com minus the domain name. Whatever is after that is what Django is going to use to find a pattern inside of your URLs file. So that URL is now going to like close. It's not going to like, it's going to define a view or specify a view that is going to like determine which content will be shown to the user. So inside of your view, what we're going to do is we're going to first create a view here. So to create a view, you guys should type this in from Django.http import http response. Response like this. And then we're going to create a function-based view. We're going to call it home. We'll just call it home view like this. So each view, remember I said this is what handles your request and then returns a particular response. So it receives a request like this. And then it returns a HTTP response. So you can send, let's say I want to send a paragraph HTML file like welcome to my blog. Like this. So we've defined the view for the home. We've defined the view for the home. So when somebody wants to see the home page, when somebody hits our URL, the base one, https KodeCamp.com, we want the person to see welcome to my blog. So this is like the response is returning. So inside of this URLs.py, let me know which of the URLs.py I'm opening. Okay, so this URLs.py is the one inside of the project project folder. So let's say we want, let's create a path for our blog. Let it be path blog / so whatever your base URL is /blog. When somebody clicks on that, you want it to show a particular view. So this is the URLs file inside of the project directory. Because you might have several applications, inside of your project, you can decide to like separate your URLs so that in case you want to repeat names, they do not collide. In case you want to repeat names for your URLs, they will not collide with those of other applications. So what you're saying is that if you get something like /blog, you want it to include the URLs for a particular application. So what you can do is we'll import include inside of here, same as we did, include like this. So we'll say when you get a URL like this or a pattern like this, we want you to include the URLs inside of blog.urls. So this particular URL conf is only going to handle this path and then pass control into blog.urls. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that make sense? So inside of blog now, we are going to create a new URL file. So just a URLs.py, and then we'll create just this. So we'll create just like this. So this is the base URL configuration. When you get a URL that has a path like this, that has a path that's similar to this, it's going to transfer control into this URLs file or into this blog URL. So anything /blog / anything will come into here. You get? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. But for me, in my apps.py, where it says, well, I'm trying to import the app config, it's giving me an error, like from the Django.app. It's highlighting that the Django.app.
It's highlighting what?
Apps.py. No, apps.py.
This apps.py.
Yeah. If you see, it's highlighting my Django.app. It's giving me an error there. I don't know why.
What was the error? But are you able to run? Are you
Come
able to
again?
run code? Are you able to run your project, like run it?
Like, did it appear in my browser?
Yeah, can you run it?
Yes. Right now, it's on my browser right now. The home page.
Okay, are
It
you
said,
using? I'm listening to
okay.
you.
Yeah. I'm here on the what's it called? URL. It's saying the Django. I'm sorry, the installation was successful. It worked.
Mm. Okay, so I've experienced something like that before, but like in my own situation, everything works because the application can actually see Django. But are you using VS Code?
Yes, I'm using VS Code.
Okay. Mm. So like what happens in my own case is if I'm using PyCharm and I don't say which exactly is the source of the source of this base direction, like the source of my project. I might have that kind of error, but my app will still run. So I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
But
No
then
what?
does it give you
Let's
like
pursue.
any error or something? Like when you try, if it doesn't give you an error when you try to run it, then you can look
Then
it
it's
up
fine.
sometime. Yeah.
Okay. I'll try to figure it out later. All right.
Where's this? Okay. So please let me clear this first. So when we get a slash blog, we want, or let's just say we want to see the home view of our blog, like the landing page of our blog. But and we've already defined a view here. Let me just close this. We've already defined a home view for our blog here. So we can import this view like this. We can say from dot views. So dot views just means look into this same folder, the same folder we are in, and pick the views file or module and import home view, just like that. So you now put the view here. So when you get this is the view that should be, this is the view that you want your application to run or to display. So because every view, most views, or I'm saying almost every view, there has like a particular template or HTML or text that you want to send to. So since show this view, then your path can have like a name like a name argument. So if you give your path a name argument, it is going to be you'll be able to reach, or like to use that view, like to use to make use of that URL like anywhere. So it will be helpful when you want to do redirection and inside of your templates. If you want to just refer to your URL anywhere, it will be very helpful. So you can give it a name. You can just call it home. So just call name. You can just say name is equal to home, like this. So let's run our app again. Okay. So you see that when you click on the app, when you click on that URL, you see that it will say page not found, that Django has tried these URL patterns. So you have to do /blog. Okay. Sorry. You have to do /blog in order to see your welcome to my blog view. So has anybody gotten up to that level? Let me share again. So you'd see something like this. But if you just do a normal slash, you will not see it. You would have an error, page not found error. So but when you do slash blog or slash whatever you put inside of your, whichever pattern you put, you'll see your view here. Has anybody gotten to that point? You guys can just signify inside of your inside of the chat. Excuse me. I don't, should I assume that everybody has gotten to that point where you can see your home view?
No, actually.
Okay. So while you guys are doing that, so if you look at your URL pattern, you see it first, this pattern here, it has three parts. It has a Python regular expression for an empty string here, this. Then it has a reference to a view called home view, which is this. And then it also has an optional named URL pattern, which we called home. So I said the path function, which we used here, you can pass it up to, I think, about 4 arguments: the route, the view, then keyword arguments, and name. So we will not be using keyword arguments in our project, but, or at least today. But these are like what we are going to just be sticking to for now. So like I said, when Django is processing the patterns, it compares the URL against the patterns it's seeing inside of there until it finds one. And then it does not search the domain name, anything HTTPS/ your domain name will not be searched. But after your .com/ anything, then Django is going to look for a pattern that matches that. Let's say that that value, say /blog. You get?
Yes.
Yes.
So now if everybody has gotten to that point, then I want us to, if everybody has gotten to the point where they can see the home view of their blog, can I say congratulations now? Or should I wait?
I think you should wait to.
Let me wait to. Congratulations came to.
I think you should wait.
Okay, so I remember when we started, somebody was asking if we can use what do you call it? if you can use different databases, like any database for our this thing, for our Python application or Django application. And I said yes. Well, for now, we're just going to use this file based database, this DB SQLite, which is like the default in Django's this thing, in Django's settings. So we said we want to create a blog application, and it's only sensible for us to want to store our blog post inside of a database. So we're going to be using this simple database for now. So inside of this database setup here, if you wanted to use a different, let's say a different database, you need to have that database installed on your system, and then you need to update like the engine and the name of the database. Then you also need to add a host, like where a host for the DB, like where that database is hosted. If it's on your local system, you can put localhost. Then you already have like configurations, user settings for that database. So if you are using, if you have like, you definitely have like a username and then a password. So all of those things must be added. So you add the user, the password, and the host. Those are like three very important values you need to provide. If you don't provide them, you are going to have an error. So I'll just
What do you say?
check inside Python documentation, the Django's documentation. How far, guys, now? Any hope or any progress? Yomi, Peter. Are you done? How far, guys? Anything?
For me, I'm actually stopped, so I'll just suggest probably you continue. Then maybe we'll watch the video when they drop it on YouTube channel to get clarification as to everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So because where we are going to now, like it is important for you to have your URL and view set up, so at least we'll know, so we can move forward or progress. Because now we are going to be moving to creating a model for our application. So for our blog posts, let me just go into here. So if you're inside of your if you're inside of your blog directory, just click on models.py. So it is here we're going to create our models. So we're going to be using object-oriented programming style. So we want to create a model for our post. So what properties will our blog post have? What properties do you think our blog post should have? You guys should write down what properties you think our blog post should have. What properties do you think our blog post? Category, okay. date. What kind of date? Which date exactly? Is it the date we created it? Okay, posted by. The date we create the post, and also the date that the post is published. Also, okay. So let's start. So the first thing we do is we'll define a class, and then we'll call the class the name of the object we want to create. The object we want to create is post. Now, to tell Django that this is a model, we need to, in this this class has to inherit from another class called, excuse me, models or model. And then we can now start creating class variables. We can now start creating class variables inside of there that we want every one of our posts to have. So the first one, posted by, say, author. Who is the author of the post? Sorry. So each of these fields, like each of these variables we're having, they are all fields. So they all inherit from a field class. So the field class can be a character field, can be a text field, it can be a date field, datetime field, or so on and so forth. So let's say we want our author is, so we use character field when we want to have like a limited number of characters. Let's say 20, let's just say 30, 40. We have an idea of how many, like you have an idea of how many characters you want or you're expecting. So let's say we want our author name to be like, first name, last name should not be more than like 40 now or 30. So we can use a character field. So the character field has some arguments that you must, or some parameters that you must fill, like the max length. So you just say max length, and you say, okay, I don't want it to be more than 30 characters. And that does that. So now we also have, what about the title of the post? So that one can also be a character field because it will not be too long. Let's say a maximum of 50 characters. So we're defining our class variables. Then we'll also have like the content of the blog. So we have model sorts. Because the content is, we don't know how, we cannot like really say how many words or how many characters will be inside of a this thing, like inside of a post. We can just say, we can just let that one to be a text field. So that's like a free, there's no limitation here. And then we have created it. Now let's have category. That one will just be like the character field as well. And say we don't want it to be more than 30 characters. Yeah. Then created date. So like and comments. I don't think I want to manage like and comments. So let's just leave likes and comments for now. You guys can add that feature later on. So let's say created date. You can use models.date field, or you can use models.datetime field. So let's just use datetime field. So we'll know exactly when it was created. So the default, I think we should have a default value. So we don't want our users to start imputing that. So we can have a default value of, let's first import time zone.utils. So from Django.utils import time zone. So we want it to be the value at the time, the exact time it was created. Then we also have like publish dates. So the time at which the let's say the time at which you create a blog post might not be the time you want to publish it. So you might want to edit it later on and maybe publish it after some days. So it will not be nice for us to have the same date for creation of a post and the same date for publishing the post, because they might just be different. So what we can just do, we can just leave that one as a blank. Let's just leave that one as a blank field. Yeah, let's leave it as a blank field. So now we've created variables that we want all of our post objects to inherit from. We can also have like methods inside of this class. Like, I would not want to say delete because there can be HTTP requests to delete a post. So for publishing a post, we can create a method. Okay. So we want, whenever you say this post.publish, we want it to set the date of this, published date, and then save the post. So we are going to say self.publish date is equal to times1.now. And then we are going to say self.save. So the object is going to be saved after you have updated. So every time you edit or modify a post or any object, or any object, you would have to save it. If not, if you change them or you modify them and you do not save it, your changes will not be reflected in the database. So you have to do that. So yeah, this is where we are now. Is this clear for everybody?
Yeah, it is actually for me.
Okay. I hope it's clear for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do now is we just have our model here. We need to create this. We have to add this new model into our database or to our database. So first, how do we make Django know that, oh, we made changes to our database? How do we do that? Okay, so let me just close this up. So to tell Django that, oh, we've made changes, we say, somebody wanted to say something. We say Python manage.py make migrations. Okay, sorry, I need to be inside of, let's see where is this. So, okay, so you see, like, the what was output, the output here, migrations for blog migration. This is the name of the migration. So migration /001 underscore initial.py. So like that's the first migration you are making inside of your application. And then this is what it does. It creates model post. So inside of here, you see all of your migrations. This is your migration here. So for us to now reflect these migrations inside of our database, we need to do Python manage.py migrate. So we run Python manage.py migrate. So you see, you can see like it ran some other migrations, the ones we did not run the first time, and then you now run this one. this is our own migration here, block 001 initial.py. Okay, so we can now like go into, from here we can go into the shell to see what what is inside of our post or inside of our database. So inside another, let's just leave this console and this terminal. Let's go to another terminal. So inside of here, okay. So we'll just run python manage.py shell. Okay, let me do Python 3. Okay. So I don't know if you guys can have gotten it, like can get into this into the shell here. Can you guys do that?
For me, no,
Why?
because I've been stuck a long time ago, so I'm actually just paying that attention. I'll get to figure out after this class, I believe.
Okay, well, it doesn't really matter because, well, even if, okay, I don't know. So, but then just to help you to know what is available, like that's why I'm doing this. So inside of here, we can import our models. Let's say from blog.models import post. Okay. So now we want to, remember we talked about Django's ORM allows you to write Python in order to do some things on your database. So let's say we want to fetch all of the posts that we have on our database. What we'll do is, okay, post.objects.all. So you can see that it returns a query set of like, there's nothing inside of that query set because we have not created any posts yet. But then we can create a new post. So let's create a post called posts. So you just, the same way you create an object, the same way you create an object. So you just say post and then you say author is equal to, let me say Jane. And then you say title is equal to rich. Then content is equal to yada. Okay, just have that. Then we can say category is equal to wealth. And then created, you don't have to put created date because like we have a default value for created date. So let's just leave that one out. And then let's leave out published date because we do not want to publish our post yet. So let's do this. When you type post, it says post object none. So let's first save our post. Let's do post.save. Like, there's an error. Okay. Okay, so let's we'll need to add a second argument for this published date so that it can take in a null value. So let's do this. So when we do this, we need to like go back again and make migrations and migrate again, and then come back here. I think we have to get out of this place and come back inside again. Okay, So let's create post again. Okay. Okay. Let me see if it's going to give us the same error. Okay, so let's see post now. Yeah, so this has created our post for us. So this was showing an error because if you do not say if you can accept a null value for a field like datetime field, then Python is going to scream or Django is going to shout. So you have to say, okay, I'm going to be passing in a null value for published date, or you can give it a default date, like a default value, but it will not make sense because our published date, if you give the default value, then it means that, okay, this thing has been, or this post has been published. Let's say if you are saying default is equal to time zone now, then you're saying, okay, it was created on this day and it was also published on this day. So which will not really make sense. So yeah, we'll just tell it to have null equal true. Now you see that we are trying to print our post, and you can see the kind of description is given to our post object. It just says post object and it says the value 1. So like, does this description make so much sense to you? If you wanted the post to be printed out to you, what would you have liked to see? What would you have liked to see if you print out a post? Would you like to see the title?
The title, like the post content, whoever authored the post,
Okay.
the date.
Just give me a second, please. Okay, I'm back. So remember when we were talking about objects and we said that remember when we were talking about objects and we said if you want to print an object, if you print an object, you can okay, let's say you can say what description you want to have of your object instead of just the default value that comes. Or like there's one kind of cryptic value they give to your object. So if instead of having that, remember we said we can have a better description of the object. Do you guys remember?
Yes, very well.
Okay. So like that's like the same thing that's happening here. We can say what description to give to our object when we want to print it. But before we do that, now you can like, because our post is already saved, now you can check out your post is going to be given an ID on the database. So you can say post.id, you can say post.title, you can say post.author, and like that, but like post.publish date. Publish date will not like show anything because it's a null value or it's empty. But the others are going to show you something like post.category. So now we've saved our post. But then if we just print out post, we don't get any description, like any valid description or useful description. So what we can do is we can go back inside our model and what method are we going to define? What method are we going to define?
The str method.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So want is to return self.title. Yeah. Okay, I don't think that is going to work now, but we need to get out of this place and come back. Okay. No block. Sorry. Post. Okay. Okay. So let's first check out. Let's first try again to print out what is inside, like print out all the posts we have. So say posts.objects.all, and now we see our post. So if we want to, like, you can now see that this post has a title attached to it, how to be rich. That's because we are telling it to return the title as the description of the post. You see? So you see how meaningful it can be now that you are using Django. So if we say, just say post is equal to post.objects.all. What's that now? Okay, objects. Okay, you can just post the first one, and then it's just come up here. So we're going to like practice a little bit more with the object relational mapper. Then we'll continue like with building our blog application for, say you want to, let's say from the front end you want to create a post from the front end. You want to get a post with a particular ID. You want to delete a post and other methods like that, or HTTP methods. So tomorrow I'm going to take you guys through the Django admin. You guys are going to see what the Django admin looks like. And I hope you guys would have been able to sort out your application up to this point. Do some practice on your own. Go through the Django documentation. Like, you'll find it very helpful. Like, it covers a whole lot. Yeah.
Perfectly understood. Thank you very much.
Okay. So like, let's just wrap it up here. So what I wanted us to do was render a HTML template, because like if you look inside of our, sorry I'm taking your time, but if you look inside of our home view, we are returning just a paragraph, but there are times we want to return like a proper HTML file that contains more than a paragraph. So how do we go about that? I would like you guys to just in your free time, create a simple template, just a very, very simple template that we can use tomorrow. So I'll show you how to render a template on Django. Yeah, and then we'll continue our class. So thank you very much, guys.
All right, thank you for your time.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, Imole, if you can like just reach out to me on Slack. If you need if you still need assistance. So this is how far we'll go today. I don't know if Ike has anything to tell us before we go home. Okay, if there is nothing, then I think we can just where's my chat? I think we can just go home now. Okay. It will be dropped inside of it will be dropped inside of the Slack channel. All right, guys. See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.